31. We're recording on July 1st. June just got over. July 1st. So yeah, I'm Tyler Oltoff, and with me as usual is Kyle Wakeling.
Hey guys.
And Yuki doing our recording. No Paul today, but he will be letting us know what we got for new releases. And Marcus isn't here this week, but hopefully you guys enjoyed him from last week, so we'll try to get him here more often. And yeah, get to know him a little bit more. He didn't talk too much last week, but we'll make him talk. Don't worry. Right, Kyle?
Yeah, we'll put the thumb screws to him.
Okay, that's a little extreme, but yeah, let's do that.
It's a plan. It's a plan.
Okay. Alright, so let's talk a bit about what we've been playing. I've been playing a bit of Monster Mon Peace. I got back to the boss and beat it, and I'm still. I think it's just like where it switches. Or Kyle, I don't want to ruin it, so Kyle knows what I'm talking about. Where it switches and stuff happens and people.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Yeah. But the question is, did you save, Tyler? Did you save?
Yes, I made sure. After I beat the boss, I hit save right away. Speaking of saving, I also just got my 64 gigabyte memory card, right, Kyle?
Yeah, Tyler.
And I'm transferring all my stuff as we speak to my new card. Yay! Anyways, Kyle's like, I'm gonna kill this guy.
Yeah, kinda.
Other than that, I've been playing some Little Big Planet. We did the lounge play on Saturday and did a lot of that, and I played some last night. I stayed up way too late playing Little Big Planet, but the game is so fun. Even though it's been out forever, I'm still having a lot of fun with it. Same with Killzone. Killzone hasn't been out as long, but still having a lot of fun with Killzone. I need to platinum that. I could easily get it. I'm just lazy. And yeah, I think that's no. Wait, I played a bit of Spelunky as well. I made it finally to the 4th world, and I died within 5 seconds of discovering this new world. It was depressing, but also very exciting because everything was so new. I was like a kid in the toy store, like looking around everywhere, and then boom, murdered. That part doesn't happen in a toy store though, but that's where
it's more like the kid's so excited he runs into the toy store and doesn't see the thing that he trips over and face plants.
Oh, exactly.
More like that.
Yeah, so I made it there, and that was exciting. So I need to work on doing that again. But yeah, I think. Last thing I played was MLB 14. Still playing that, obviously. And yeah, what about yourself, Kyle?
Well, I played some Lone Survivor. I cleaned up a little trophies and kind of screwed around. I'm still not really sure how to get to the end of this game, but it's fun nonetheless. I also cleaned up some Assassin's Creed 3 Liberation trophies. I think I'm 2 away from the platinum now. I just have to do the 100% synchronization, and the stupid guards have to shoot at me 10 times or something. Also, as always, Hot Shots Golf. Been playing that on PS3 and Vita. We did lounge play, so we played Killzone and Little Big Planet. Little Big Planet was hilarious. You guys have to check out the lounge play on our YouTube channel.
Oh yeah.
And I've been playing X-Blaze Code Embryo, which is my next review title, and I'm getting close to finishing it. I've hit 2 endings, but I don't think either one is the final ending because I haven't unlocked the last chapters. So yeah, I'm keep going back and fixing my mistake or whatever. Some of them aren't mistakes, some of them aren't bad endings, but yeah, there's good and bad endings. And
see, I always have mixed feelings about games that have multiple endings because I feel like I miss a lot, and something could be better than the other. I don't know, that's just my opinion.
I usually go back and do them if I don't get, if there's a good ending and a bad ending. I always go for the good ending. Yeah. And if I don't get it the first time, I always go back and do it. But this one, it's some endings aren't necessarily good or bad; they just kind of are. So,
yeah.
And there's not like a huge variety. I think there's like 5 different endings. So it's quite plausible to get them all without too much trouble.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've been enjoying it, and you'll see my review on that probably by the end of the week.
Nice.
And speaking of reviews, we actually had a couple come in this week, and we're going to tell you a little bit about those. We got the first one was from Brad, and it's Kilka Card Gods. It's a card game, and he kind of had not so good things to say about it, so you might want to check out that review on the site if you were considering a purchase. Also, Another World. Charlie reviewed Another World and posted that just the other day. You might want to check out his review if you're not too nostalgic about the game, if this is your first foray into the game, so to speak, as there's a couple warnings you might want to read. And Paul finally got his Borderlands 2 review up, so if you want to hear our thoughts or Paul's thoughts on this, which kind of echo my thoughts as well, have a read of his review.
Nice.
So yeah, that's what we've all been playing this week.
Sounds good. All right, well, let's head on to the new releases, and Paul will be calling in and letting us know what's coming out this week. So, Paul, take it away.
Hi everyone, it's Paul here, and I'm just going to be talking about this week's new releases. We'll start with North America. There's only the one release this week, and it's Child of Light from Ubisoft, which is available for $14.99. We should have had Another World this week because it was postponed from last week, but it doesn't appear to be on the store listing, so we'll chase that up with the Digital Lounge and see what's going on. We do have changes to the PlayStation Plus lineup in North America though, with Muramasa Rebirth and Doki Doki Universe both joining part of the Instant Game Collection. We also have sales for Ragnarok Odyssey and Ragnarok Odyssey Ace, so check out the blog and grab those if they look like they're your kind of thing. It's a bit more full in Europe though, with Atelier Rorona Plus joining the store after getting a physical release last week, which is available for €34.99, Euros 99, sorry, and $54.95 Australian dollars. You have Child of Light as well, which is £11.99, €14.99 or $22.95. It also has a complete edition for a little bit more for each, which includes all the DLC. You have MotoGP launching this week on Friday on the store, which will be £34.99, €39.99 or $54.95. And of course you have the Ratchet and Clank trilogy, which is cross-buy with the PS3, but you can buy it for $19.99, €24.99 or $32.95. Soul Sacrifice is the deal of the week, which you can get for $14.99, $19.99 or $24.95, but it's also part of the Big in Japan sale, which is definitely worth a look. A lot of titles in there, PSP and Vita, Final Fantasy games, all sorts in there. It's a very good sale. Just go and have a look and see if anything grabs your fancy. You also have PlayStation Plus changing in Europe with Lego Batman 2, DC Superheroes, and Doki Doki Universe, the same as in North America. Let us know what you think about the PlayStation Plus games and this week's releases, and I'll speak to you next week.
All right, thank you, Paul. So yeah, are you going to get Child of Light, Kyle?
I don't know. Didn't look that interesting to me, but I'm really picky about games, as you know, so I'll probably wait and see some more opinions of the Vita version before I jump in.
Gotcha. Yeah, it looks interesting, but all I've heard is a lot of people talking about it on the consoles and saying how awesome it is, so I'm just like, if it's coming to the Vita, that increases my odds of trying it out.
That's always a good thing.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't have the money right now, so maybe one day I'll hop in and give it a play. All right.
Don't cry, Tyler. It's okay.
All right, well, let's head on to the news for this week. It's a slow week, kind of, but there's a bit here, so let's get it started. First up, Hyperdimensia Neptunia Rebirth 1 dated, new media released. Idea Factory International has just released a slew of new media for the game, including new screens and a new promotional trailer. But first, let's look at what makes this version different from the PlayStation 3 one. An overhauled battle system, Hyperdimensia Neptunia Rebirth 1 takes the original game and equips it with the battle system of Hyperdimensia Neptunia Victory. This gives the player a more in-depth gaming experience. New scenario, new ending. The main story and event scenes are renewed from the PlayStation 3 version. The core storyline will remain mostly the same, but the conversations between characters are all new. A new ending has been added as well. This will allow players returning from the PlayStation 3 version to enjoy the game anew. And there's a few more things, I just didn't include it here, so if you want to check out that, go read the story for yourself and see what else is new. Especially if you played the PlayStation 3 version, then you can see everything that's different, see if it's worth it. Anyways, Hyperdimension Neptunia Rebirth 1 is set to be released on August 26th in North America, coming both in physical and digital copy. It'll be released the next day, August 27th, in Europe, but will only be available as a digital copy. It would also be available in Australia, but it wasn't clear if this was on the 27th or a later date. Alright, next up, the Irregular at Magic High School dated for Japan. Those in Japan will be able to get a hold of the Irregular at Magic High School out of order when it releases October 30th. It will be priced at 6,663 yen, or roughly $65.40 in the US, for the regular edition, or 10,778 yen, or $105.75 in the US, for the limited edition. Which includes a Blu-ray disc as well as tracksuit and Bloomer's costume download codes, which, if you import, won't work on your account, just so you know, unless you have a Japanese account. So don't waste the $105 unless you really want that Blu-ray disc. Next up, Road Not Taken given release window on Vita. The release date for PlayStation 4 is August 5th, while the PlayStation Vita version is stated as coming later this fall.
Next up, a demo for Arashika Tainted Bloodlines, the JRPG from Sony's Studio Japan, will be released on the Japanese PSN July 10th. The demo will let players go through a year of game time, allowing them to play the beginning of the story, which follows a lineage of demon hunters. The game itself is set to be released a week later on July 17th in Japan. As for the West, no release date for the demo or the game has been announced other than it's coming. Next up, Midora, a top-down pixel-style RPG that is not too dissimilar to The Legend of Zelda, has had a Vita stretch goal set on Kickstarter by developer Epic Minds. Playing as Snow, you will discover the one thing that turns her into the heroine of Destiny and will set out on quests to see you trek through 12 different dungeons in an open world. Playing as Snow, you're able to control water and will soon learn to combine this ability with magic runes that will enable you to experiment and find new ways to defeat your enemies. Hidden within the game's many dungeons are other items that you can use to progress throughout the game. Such items include a boomerang-like wind fan and a vine whip, which can be used to help you traverse around levels. There are said to be over 200 different items available in Midora for you to use, some of which you'll have to craft yourself, and some of which can be only utilized at night. If you take a break from exploring dungeons, Midora has a variety of different mini-games, such as fishing, for you to play to whistle away the time. Midora's required goal for funding is set at $60,000, with a PlayStation Vita and PlayStation 4 stretch goal set at $100,000. At the time of writing, or reading actually, Midora is currently at over 36,000 with 12 days to go, but a recent update has noted that stretch goals are only in place to speed up development, and the game will reach other platforms regardless, as long as the base goal is met. And next up, we get some new details on upcoming CPU idle title Ultra Dimension Action Neptunia U, including information on the inclusion of the 4 goddesses and the costume break system. Even though there has been much attention on the game industry CPUs, especially Neptune, their sisters have not been forgotten, as the 4 sisters of the goddesses, the ones in Nepgear, Uni, Rom, and Ram, have been confirmed to appear in Ultra Dimension Action Neptunia U. The game will also have a costume break system, which allows characters to become stronger as their clothes get worn off. Also, more is known about Dengekiko, a character based on the magazine of the same name. She works as a journalist who is honest and casual when she writes. Ultra Dimension Action Neptunia U is scheduled to be released August 28th in Japan, with no word yet on a release in the West.
Alrighty. More dungeon RPGs out of Mages and Experience. A deal between publisher Mages and developer Experience has paved way for some cool content to hit Japanese shores, both new and revamped. After Cyberfront Japan closed its doors, Mages formed forces with Demon Gaze developer Experience to create more dungeon RPGs, including Tokyo New World, Record Operation Abyss. In addition to the new game, however, the collaboration will also be bringing Labyrinth Crossblood Infinity, the prequel to the Vita, again as Labyrinth Crossblood Infinity Ultimate. The game is set to come out on August 28th in Japan, with Tokyo New World Record Operation Abyss scheduled to hit July 24th, last we heard. It's a little backwards if you want to transfer your save, but hey, at least they're both coming. Next, the Dear God Kickstarter adds Vita and PS4 goals. The Dear God is a pixel 3D platformer with a beautiful world that challenges players' perspective of religion. After a hunter is killed in a hunting accident, he is reincarnated as a deer himself. He has to battle and grow from a young fawn into a great buck, trying to survive and woo does. If you die, you are usually reincarnated as another deer, but if you have enough negative karma, you could be reincarnated as a plant or a rabbit. If the funding reaches the stretch goal of $95,000, the Vita version will officially be coming, with July 23rd being the last day of the campaign. So far, the campaign holders have only hit just shy of 8,500 of their 26,000 base goal. However, there's still 26 days to go. And Natural Doctrine to release this September in the West. Western publisher NIS America has announced that Natural Doctrine will launch September 16th in North America and September 19th in Europe. Coming to both regions in both physical and digital formats, the game will feature cross-play and cross-save across all platforms, but not cross-buy. The regular edition will be priced at $39.99 in North America, with a limited edition which adds a softcover art book, tear-resistant poster, and Explorer's Bag to the mix, available on the NIS America online store for $59.99.
Next up, Tecmo Koei has finally announced some details for the North American and European releases of Warriors Orochi 3 Ultimate. Released first in Japan on September 26th of last year, Warriors Orochi 3 Ultimate finally gets some release details for its Western debut, care of the key game features below. So we've got up to 100 enemies on screen, with your gameplay amplified by new moves including aerial special attacks, Triple Rush, which is a system that allows the player to switch between individual characters or unleash attacks as a party of 3, and True Muso Burst, which is a powerful finishing move executable by up to 6 characters. We've also got new and crossover characters, with over 145 playable characters in the game, 51 distinct stages with crossover stages melding universes including Atelier, Dynasty Warriors, Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2, and Samurai Warriors. We've got the whole mythos of the Orochi universe expanding with new side stories and a new ending. We've got new gameplay modes. We've got cross-play and cross-save functionality between all PlayStation versions, including save data importing from the original Warriors Orochi 3 on PlayStation 3. And we've got Warriors Orochi 3 set to launch in North America as a digital-only title September 2nd for $39.99. It'll also be hitting Europe a few days later on September 5th. Those specific pricing and availability details are unclear at this time. Next up, thanks to Jamatsu, we have gained a little insight into 2 new characters from Digimon Story. So, the protagonist meets Agumon and Gabumon on the lowest levels of cyberspace. Agumon is a little dinosaur-looking creature without an inch of fear in his body, whereas the semi-furred Gabumon is a cowardly and shy type. Together they help cast away doubts as to the nature of hackers and bear secrets deep within them that could help prove pivotal to the protagonist's greater fate. Jamatsu also had some new details on various aspects from the game, including details on the female protagonist, Nokia Shiramine, who is a young girl who establishes an emotional bond with Digimon she meets, Arata Sanada, who's a former big-name hacker and big brother among his peers, and some other details on the game. So you can check that out on the site. The game is set to release 2015 in Japan, and we're still hoping we're going to see a Western release. There's a petition actually going around for it right now. And the Banner Saga. Have you guys heard of the Banner Saga? It was released earlier this year on PC, and Stoic Games are currently working on mobile versions of the title. But in an interview with Digital Spy, they spoke of plans to bring the title to consoles, including the PlayStation Vita. John Watson from Stoic Games explained, quote, The ideal would be to get some console ports out before the end of the year. Whether we can make that happen or not, I don't know. Some things are easier than others. I think the game would be great on Vita, but I think that would come after other consoles. It's a path of least resistance thing. There's 3 of us. For Vita, I'd much rather see it on PlayStation 4 first, then work on the Vita. The Vita might need some changes to take advantage of the fact that it's both control and touch at the same time." End quote. For those unfamiliar with the game, the official website has the following description. The Banner Saga is an epic role-playing game inspired by Viking legend. Hand-painted landscapes portray a world eerily suspended in perpetual twilight. Cities and towns begin to crumple into chaos. Heroes abandon their hearths and homes to traverse the snowy countryside, gaining allies along the way to help battle a strange new threat. Decisions have consequences. Wise choices must be made when conversing with possible allies during intricately crafted dialogues. Turn-based strategy brings tactical challenge in hand-animated battle sequences. With visuals evocative of the golden age of animation, the Banner Saga brings skillfully crafted art, story, and strategy to gamers waiting to re-experience classic adventures and tactics.
Let's continue with the news.
It's so fucking hot here, I'm like sweating.
Yeah, it's like almost 80 degrees already here.
It's fucking 42 Celsius here, which is like 120
Oh dear.
Fahrenheit. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's not.
It's ridiculous.
It's evening time here. It's 8 o'clock at night here, and it's still 20 degrees outside. It's still fucking, and it stays like that all through the fucking night.
Last night it only got down to like 30. It was friggin' brutal.
How are you supposed to sleep?
Yeah, I was sitting with like 3 fans on me, like pointed from different directions. It's ridiculous. Anyway.
If you're wondering who that English accent is, that's Paul. He joined us. Yay, hi Paul.
Yay, hello.
Alright, let's finish up the news here. Last 3. Time Spinner Kickstarter has a Vita stretch goal. Time Spinner is a Metroidvania platformer from Lunar Ray Games and looks to merge the game mechanics from Castlevania and Mega Man while having a similar story style to Star Ocean. The primary platforms are set as PC, Mac OS X, and Linux, but it does have PS4 and Vita targets set at 65,000 US and 75,000 US respectively, and that's 75,000, 65,000. A 2D pixel art title with a visual style reminiscent of the SNES era. The game features the following, and there's a lot more features. I'm just going to read a couple of them because there's a lot. Stop time to evade foes, use them as platforms and solve puzzles. Explore a large connected world with areas such as medieval castles, a petrified forest, a bustling metropolitan area, and a space-age laboratory. Clobber enemies with magic orbs found throughout the world. Every orb has both a unique melee and ranged spell attack that grow in power the more you use them. At the time of this post, the title has already reached $46,453 of its target $50,000, and it still has 24 days to go. So if you want to hit that Vita stretch goal, go kickstart it. Tell other people. Western release details for Senran Kagura Bon Appetit. Senran Kagura Bon Appetit was originally sold as 2 separate games in Japan. Senran Kagura Bon Appetit Pack A released March 20th and had Hanzo and Crimson Squad characters. Then about a month later, Pack B was released with the Gessen and Kyle's laughing already. Hibijio ninjas from Senran Kagura Shinobi Versus. You could buy either Senran Kagura Bon Appetit Pack A or B for 2,315 yen, or a set with both for 3,889 yen if they purchased both packs before Pack B came out. Afterwards, an A plus B set costs 4,167 yen. Instead of a Pack A and Pack B in the West, Senran Kagura Bon Appetit Hanzo X Crimson Squad will be the main game, which is basically Pack A in Japan, while Pack B, the Gessen X Hibijio pack, will be sold as downloadable content and not a separate game. It seems that both Europe and Australia have been included in the Bon Appetit release thanks to Marvelous AQL, and the game's getting a special title in Western regions, Senran Kagura Bon Appetit Hanzo X Crimson Squad. Yay, Bon Appetit! Woo!
I can't wait.
Kyle's ready to do some cooking, right?
Oops, I failed so much. Look at all their clothes fall off.
Well, maybe Kyle needs to join that forum we were talking about earlier. Nobody has no idea what we're talking about. Anyways, Telltale Games. Wait, Tales from the Borderlands. Loot choices affect outcome. Telltale Games Senior Director of Marketing Richard Ego explains. Loot. This is the Borderlands, right? So loot has to be an enormous part of the game, and it absolutely is, and it's part of our choice system, so when and what and how you choose to loot things will also have a chance to affect the game as well, end quote. We also got some news from Richard regarding the game's connections to other Borderlands titles. Quote, while obviously there are still connections, our game takes place after Borderlands 2. We will have links into the pre-sequel. Although a rule of the Borderlands universe is there's no time travel, so that's not the sort of thing we're talking about, but there will be links, and there certainly will be loot links between the games, and that's something that we'll be releasing more information out about soon. End quote. And I'm pretty sure I forgot to include more information. Hold on a second.
Tyler falls asleep and misses part of the reading.
Hey, I forgot to copy something. Leave me alone. Alright. Tales from the Borderlands is due out sometime this year, so keep your eye on TVL for more updates as they become available. And that is our news. Unless Kyle has something to surprise you with and make me look stupid.
Not this time.
It depends how quick Charlie's already been typing them up quite quickly, hasn't he, while you've been reading them. Try and give you a few more.
Is there some more? I
don't think so.
Alright, well, boom. There's the news. Enjoy it. Soak it in.
Alright, so what are those games and what's coming out this week that we know of are you guys interested in? What looks good to you?
Well, there was one that I was looking at. The Irregular at Magic High School. That looks cool. And that's the one that you wanted me to look into, Kyle, right?
Yes, it is.
That's like our next campaign of getting to the press.
That's the next begging game. Yes.
All right. Yeah, that one looks pretty exciting. Also that Deer God game, that Kickstarter game where you become a deer and do stuff, survive, or you could. Yeah. Not too much is known about it, but it looks interesting. I don't know if I would go for or kickstart it, but if it does get kickstarted and makes its way to the Vita, I'll definitely have to take a look at it.
Yeah, it's really different. Like I watched the little trailer that they have there, and it looks really unique. Like nothing I've ever played before. So I'd definitely give it a shot. It's something different. I like that.
And then Tales from the Borderlands. I love Telltale Games, and I like Borderlands. So let's see what they can do. So give us some more information, and let's hope the Vita version actually comes out day one instead of like everyone else gets to enjoy the game and then like 2 months later like, hey, here's episode 1.
Yeah, I think we know the answer to that. Without even being told. We can cross our fingers and hope, but I think it's obvious what's going to happen there.
Yeah.
Although it seems like they're catching up with the Walking Dead stuff.
That is true. Aren't they all caught up?
Yeah, I think somebody even mentioned something about the next one even having the Vita version come out at the same time if they can. So
yeah, who knows? Fingers crossed, right, Paul? Come on.
Optimism.
There you go.
Too much pessimism around here.
I mean, from the news this week, for me as well, it's a similar sort of thing. I mean, that's one that I'm going to be looking forward to. I mean, I obviously only recently joined the Walking Dead party and loved it. So something that's going to be very similar based on Borderlands is going to be right up my kind of street. I like the look of the Banner Saga. I think that looks very, very interesting indeed. Obviously, it got quite good reviews on the PC, and I think it would be good on the Vita. But obviously, it's at least 6 to 8 months away if they haven't even started it yet. And again, Time Spinner. That looks like it's got a lot of interesting gameplay mechanics, so that might be one to look out for.
Yeah, for me, I think it's definitely the Irregular at Magic High School, Tales from the Borderlands, Senran Kagura Bon Appetit. But I'm also kind of looking forward to the Medora game. I haven't played any games like that, like really, Legend of Zelda type games in a long time. But that one looks kind of interesting with over 200 items to get, and just like the sheer,
Just a sheer
possibility
scale
of the thing. Yeah, it's just very interesting. I wonder what they're going to do with that, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that.
I mean, another one for me, Kyle, is Road Not Taken. I mean, we've been keeping an eye on that for a few months now. It's just disappointing. It's not going to come out at the same time as the PS4 version.
Yeah,
It's just it's another one of the things. It's something that's creeping in quite a lot at the moment, and it's frustrating. But
release delays, but compared to the console version, just sucks.
Yeah, it's why not delay them all? I mean, someone made a valid point. I can't remember who it was. I think it might have been Blue Maxima. Made a point about the title that launched the day of E3. What was it? I can't remember what it was. What's it called?
Entwined.
Is it?
Yeah,
Entwined. Yeah, that's the one. Name escaped me. But the PlayStation 4 version comes out, and the Vita version's running somewhat behind. Why not just delay the whole lot? Release them all on the same day. It's frustrating more than anything else. That's a conversation for last week's podcast and the week before. I mean, of this week's releases, I'm looking forward to getting my hands on Child of Light. Ubisoft, if you're listening, we really would like a review copy, please. Else we'll just have to go out and buy it. But from looking at it from the PS4 version, I think it's worth buying anyway. So I'm looking forward to that.
Okay, I gotta say it. Even though it's not a Vita game, I'm looking forward to Dead Space 3 because they're giving that away on Plus, and I just need more games, and that's one of the games I need. so I'm looking forward to that too.
Nice.
I guess.
That's fair enough.
And it's nice that the Plus has changed as well. The whole coming out on the first Tuesday of the month now, like Europe has been doing with the first Wednesday of the month, is going to be a lot easier on people who are popping up like, where the hell is this game? Where the hell is that game? All through the month. So thank God.
The consistency is going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot better for people to manage the titles, and when you know that it's going to join on a certain day every month.
And plus, nothing's going to come for that next month too, so you're free to buy games without worrying, am I going to buy something that's coming on Plus in 2 days or something, right?
No, absolutely. I mean, that was before Europe started getting that consistency. It was always a worry that you're going to buy something 1 month, and then at the end of the month it could be on Plus. I mean, the communication has got a lot better, which is always good.
Well, I just got a message from Ubisoft, and they told me that they don't have any review copies for Child of Light.
Oh.
On the Vita.
That's not cool.
So it looks like we will be buying it.
Well, hopefully it's not too expensive then. Hopefully it's the same price or whatever, and they don't Vita tax us.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Huh. Weird. Or they're just being jerks and they're like, no, we don't want to give you a review copy. Who knows?
I mean, we're not entitled to any review copies
right.
we receive. We're incredibly grateful for, but it's just, it'd be nice to know that we could or we couldn't.
Right.
There's nothing worse than spending £16-17 on something and then finding out that you get a code the next day.
Yeah.
We've done that a couple times.
I did that with Terraria. Kyle got a code right after I bought the game. I was like, But it's a good thing I love the game, so it didn't really matter. Alright. Is that all the talking points we have?
Yeah, that's all you guys seem to came up with. So unless you got something else to talk about, Tyler, I think that's all for this.
Not that I can think of.
One thing I'd like to talk about, I got an email from Game in the UK telling me that I was in the 20,000 of their customers that was eligible for their share scheme. They floated on the stock exchange in our country, and as a result they handpicked a certain amount of their customers, probably all the ones that bought PlayStation 4s last year, because Charlie got one as well. And basically I've got £100 worth of virtual shares, and at some point over the next sort of like couple of years they will offer me the chance to trade them in for reward points to the equivalent value. So as their share price fluctuates, Yeah, well, obviously my £100 can go up or go down. It'll probably stay around about that kind of figure unless they get record profits and stuff. But my point was, when I was in there, I saw the best Vita display that I've ever seen, and I didn't have my camera or my phone on me, so I couldn't take a picture of it. But they had a unit and a display, and they must have had about 25 or 30 games there. And I was just blown away by the fact that they had it. So what I was going to say is, to everyone who's listening, have you seen any displays like that? If you can get a picture of it, send them in, and we'll talk about who as a retailer does the best job for trying to promote the Vita. Doesn't matter whether you're in Europe or America. We'd like to know, and then we can discuss it, because I think it's an interesting thing for how it performs, the way it's presented at retail level.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, it's definitely a good idea. We kind of did something like that back when we were talking about retail stuff back. I think it was last year actually. With Soul Sacrifice and stuff like that. So I know some of the retailers around here have those Vita kiosks and stuff like that in their place, but I know a lot of them don't. And it's also not necessarily by retailer either, because we have 2 EB games here, and one, when I went last time, had it, and the other one had like 3 games. So it seems to be inconsistent across retailers as well. So it'd be interesting to see. Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I'd like to know. I'd like to know whether in Europe or in America, show us what your local retailer is doing for the Vita. Because if there was one consistent message, if every single game in the UK had one of them and displayed it and talked about it, things would be a little bit better. You'd sell a few more, because people would go, "Wow, what's that?" and buy one. Rather than the one that's got the little Vita section shoved in the corner that's only got 3 or 4 games, on display for it. What message is that going to send? But it was nice to see. I mean, I'll have to go back there and get a photo.
Nice.
All right, then. I think that's all our talking points. So we've got a little bit of listener mail, so let's move on to that. John Dork, at Johnny Dork on Twitter, asks, would you guys like to see an English dub for Freedom Wars? I'm on the S bandwagon. Reading text at the expense of cutscenes sucks.
Huh. Yeah, I can understand how he's feeling, because sometimes it does suck when you're like wanting to watch an awesome cutscene and then you're looking down at and just reading. But some English dubs are just not good, and you like cringe at every time they talk. So, I mean, if they were able to do it and then you had the option to switch, I think that would be perfectly fine. But that's money that they could save by not doing that. So, and
time as well. Time
exactly.
That they could save for getting it out as well. So
yeah. But I mean, like with Persona 4, the English dub in that game, I think personally is really good, and I had no problem listening to them talk and whatnot, and it made it really easy to follow the game and not have to worry about missing things. But then again, that game wasn't really cutscene heavy, so.
No, I mean, Persona 4 is one of the standout examples of titles done well on the Vita, though. For me, obviously, I'd like to see a game that's been localized have an English language track on it, but I'd rather get these games out here than not. So
right.
It's kind of like a trade-off, isn't it?
Yeah.
If that was the deal breaker to getting it localized in the West, then surely you'd rather have the game in the West, and put up with a little bit of subtitling.
Yeah. Now it's just that the video that they just recently posted, right? The story trailer or whatever on PlayStation YouTube of it being like subbed or whatever. Is that what this is coming from? Because did they announce that it's not English dub?
Yeah, it's been announced that it's only coming as English sub.
Okay.
So yeah,
I was just curious. Oh. It doesn't bother me too much, but what about you, Kyle? I know you're...
Yeah, I'm a purist, so I prefer it that way.
Okay.
If you're going to, do actual voices where, you try and make the lips match what they're saying, and then you try and throw dub over it, most of the time, like, unless you're a really good company who pays really good attention and tailors the words that they give their characters to that, it's not going to look right, and it's usually not going to sound right, and
yeah.
I just don't, it's bad. And
yeah.
I know, especially from knowing quite a bit of Japanese and even listening to the games like X-Blaze, as they speak, and then what's written underneath, they don't match up. So
Yeah.
It's hard to do and get right. I'd rather just the subs because it's not going to match up anyway. So
Yeah. Yeah, with Dragon Ball Z Battle of Z, that is like one of the funnest games on the Vita. So if you haven't, go get it. But they do English dub, and then they have, like, it's originally a Japanese game, so like it just doesn't match at all. Like, I'm watching their lips and they literally will stop talking, but you still hear English voices, and it's just like, ugh. Like, the voices are good because I think it's like the original sounding characters from the anime, so I mean, it sounds right, it just doesn't look right. So it just kind of sucks because it takes you out of that experience. Like, you feel like you're watching the TV show, but then you notice the lips don't match, and it's just like, sigh.
Yeah, it's a universe breaker. It breaks that bond that you have with whatever you're playing, and it brings you back to reality for me.
Yeah.
I even reading the subtitles, like, for me, like, I know some people, not everyone's the same, and people read differently and blah blah blah. I mean, English may not be your first language, whatever, but I can read fast enough that it doesn't bother me. I just glance down, I get the whole sentence, that's it. So I guess it depends on how much you like to read and how well you can read as well, whether it's going to be something that you're going to say screw that, or you're okay with it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that's all we have on that one. So let's move on to our other comment question here. King Supersmith at Supersmith2500 on Twitter asks, do you think the PS Vita will get more first-party games?
I don't think.
This is a difficult one, isn't it? This is the contentious question from the last week.
It is and it isn't, because I really don't think that you can ever say, oh, there's never going to be any more first-party games. Right. I don't think you can say that, because, like, look at the PSP and look at all these other systems that they support well after they're been replaced and all this other stuff with these first-party games, and you think that just because they say they're going to slow down a little, and it's even been, I think I read something earlier that they've backpedaled now, and they're saying many first-party games are in production and blah blah blah. So whether or not there's going to be them, I don't think that's a question. It's whether how many there's going to be is the question. And I think we're going to have enough to keep people on the edge of their seat waiting, but whether or not we're going to get a whole whack, that's dependent, I think, on hardware sales.
It's interpretation as well, isn't it? It's the way these questions are being asked, and then the way they're being reported afterwards. It's at the moment, Sony have got this very clear company line in the West that remote play is doing well, and and cross-buy is doing well, and the indie titles are doing well, and they're focusing on the things that they see as positives without getting too drawn on what they're actually doing on the rest of things. And people are pushing them on these things, and I think that they're leaving themselves open for this kind of thing with the way they're answering. You'd think that their PR team would say, look, come on, damage limitation, let's stop answering questions on this kind of thing for the time being. I mean, prior to E3, a lot of Vita owners were very, very happy with what was coming for the rest of the year, and content with what we knew with the localization of a lot of games and so on. E3's come along, and all of a sudden everything's ended just because we don't know what's coming beyond that when we didn't know before that. So I think everyone needs to just sort of like take stock and let things pan out. And
I agree.
And what will be.
It seems like they almost like they're reacting to nothing. Like I didn't expect anything, so that's why I didn't react. Like, really, what we got was more than I was expecting. We actually got them to talk about something here and there a little, and the mentions of the two games that nobody really knew were coming, Tales from the Borderlands, which hadn't been confirmed, and Disney Infinity. So I was more than happy. So it's that whole hype thing for me, going into it. People were saying, oh, we're going to get stuff, oh, we're not going to get stuff. Then people are expecting something or not expecting something, when they should have just went into it like we went into last year's, where we weren't really expecting anything, and it was okay. Which this one kind of was.
Yeah, I mean, we know what we know is coming out. Obviously they'll have a few things that they will know that haven't been announced yet. After E3, everyone's like, "Oh, Vita's dead, Vita's dead." It's got nothing coming for it. And then a week afterwards, you get a Sony executive appearing to suggest that first-party titles are not their priority. And then everyone's like, "Oh, Vita's dead, Vita's dead." It's like, but it's the same information you had the week before. It's like, why are you all getting your knickers in a twist about it? There's still plenty of good stuff out there, and still plenty of good stuff coming. Let's wait until all of that's been and gone, and then if nothing's there, then let's all worry. I think we'll be all right. Obviously, there'll be people that aren't satisfied, and that's obviously down to them. But
well, that happens with anything. Like, if you look at any console, there's people who buy PlayStation 4 and now they're like, "Oh, there's no games that sits there and collects dust and blah, blah, blah." There's people who are going to complain or are going to buy things and say a while down the road, why the hell did I buy that with everything? So, I really don't see the difference between this and anything else.
Gamescom.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we've said it a million times. Gamescom, TGS, those are the Vita shows. So if you're looking for something for Vita, that's where the Vita stuff gets announced. Wait for that, and then tell us how the Vita's dead. Then we'll maybe listen.
Well, in the meantime, we'll just carry on playing our backlog.
Yeah, our ridiculous backlogs.
Yes, let us catch up for a little bit.
Alrighty. I think that's pretty much it for our listener mail this week.
All right.
Paul, do you have any game recommendations for this week?
Well, I've just finished Borderlands 2 and stuck my review up last week far quicker than I've done my Dynasty Warriors one. I've given it 3.5 out of 5. It's a great game. It does have technical problems, and here in Europe we still haven't got the patch. So
you guys just got it.
That bit out then. Well, obviously I haven't played it since I finished my review because I've been playing Another World. So let's start that again.
Nice.
Yeah. So Borderlands 2, I thoroughly recommend it. Even with the technical issues that may or may not have been fixed by patches, it's still a great game. For the relatively budget price and the amount of content you get, it is great. There are a few little issues here and there, but it's not enough to stop you completing the game. It is brilliant and worth playing. Another World, obviously Charlie's just reviewed that and gave that 2.8 out of 5 for us. I got the honour of reviewing it for Punk and Lizard on the PlayStation 4. I scored it 6 out of 10, so a similar sort of score to Charlie. It's very frustrating. But it does hook you, but then by the time it hooks you, it's finished. So it's definitely one for those that played it before. It's a piece of gaming history in its own right. It's worth a play. I don't think it's worth the price. I think if you get it in a sale or you got it on Plus, then definitely everyone should get it. Obviously, if it's on Plus, everyone should get it. If it's on a sale for sort of like half the recommended price, then definitely go for it. Because it's from 1991. It's inspired so many titles over the years. It did things that were never done at the time. But it's short and frustrating, to say the least. If DualShock controllers weren't so expensive, it would have gone across the room many times over.
Need one of those rubber bands so you can throw it and it'll just come back.
Yeah, definitely, or like a boomerang shaped one or something. It's the amount of times my kids have heard some choice language coming out of my mouth this week. Yeah, because seriously, I died like 50 times on the same bit.
Yeah, Charlie said he was stuck on the same bit for something stupid too. So he's like, "Oh man."
The crucial thing with any platformer though is the controls. They have to be perfect. Everything has to be perfect for it to work. And because back in the day it was only 2-button joysticks that you used. So basically everything's controlled by just one button. So you throw in a shield, shooting your gun, all of these things, they're all controlled by one button. The only button that isn't is the square, which is used to jump. So everything you're doing, running, all on one other button. It's incredibly frustrating because you've got to time it perfectly to jump over gaps, to avoid things that are trying to eat you, to throw your shield up and then shoot someone and then charge up a super shot. You see, just my voice there should tell you how frustrating it is. But it is, it's a piece of history, as I said. So give it a look if it gets cheaper.
Well, there you go. Some good recommendations there, or warnings, so to speak, on one of the games there. And I'd also like to throw in, if you haven't played Muramasa Rebirth, it's coming to Plus, so grab that as well. It should be there by the time you hear this podcast.
All right. Well, let's get out of here. So, as usual, you can find all the stories that we talked about on the VitaLounge.net. We're all on Twitter. I'm at Mr. PS Vita Reviews. Kyle is at Teflon Tactics. Paul is at something I always forget because I don't say it enough. Paul, what is it?
It's at PMurphy1978, but to be honest with you, I don't use it that much. I use the main Vita Lounge account, which is at the Vita Lounge.
Yeah, do that. Also, you can find us on Facebook. Just search the Vita Lounge. Our YouTube channel, Lounge Play. We've been recording some episodes, so get on there, subscribe, comment, and join us, and kill Kyle and I in Killzone, or escape from sharks with us in Little Big Planet. All of that, and more. Also, go sign up for the forum, the VitaLounge.com.net/forum. Join on, sign up, introduce yourself, join the conversation. Also, we've been on iTunes for a while, so go subscribe to us on iTunes and rate us, let us know how we're doing. Feel free to leave us feedback. And yeah, I'd like to thank you for listening, and I hope you guys have a great week. See you later.
Later, guys.
Bye.